this was another one of those ones where I recorded it, thought about what I said, realized I didn't say what I wanted to say, so deleted it, starting over. But I had a really cool week. Got to spend some time going back to where I grew up, some good family time, visiting mom, which was awesome. Dogs, a little perspective change. Cool flight there and back. A lot of turbulence, more than normal, but I don't fly as much as I used to, so maybe it's not more than normal. Just seemed like it. People were getting a little nervous during the turbulence, which makes sense. I am brave on a plane by no means, but usually it takes a lot of turbulence to make me feel a little uncomfortable. Aside from that, it's kind of fun. Added bonus, little theme park ride on the plane. But I've only had one time where I could recall that we had bad enough turbulence where like the flight attendants also looked nervous. That made me a little nervous. But in all my travels, I can only think of that happening once. But you see other people on the plane get pretty nervous. And it was cool on the way out. So I was in the aisle seat. There was somebody in the middle, somebody in the window, and the person who was sitting in the middle seat was clearly a little extra nervous about the I should say visibly nervous. I don't know if she was extra nervous about the turbulence, and the young lady in the window seat just kind of leaned in and said, "Hey, do you need anything?" And I thought that was a cool, just nice little random act of kindness. You know, you see somebody get nervous and they're uncomfortable, makes you uncomfortable, and you're first, you just want to jump to fix it. And so maybe you say something like, "Oh, don't be scared," or "Oh, it's okay, it's totally normal," which certainly could be helpful. But I just thought the phrase of particularly, "Hey, do you need anything?" Oh, that's just a kind way to go about that. You know, not jumping to an assumption or, applying a fix that you think will work. So that was really nice. Really nice way to approach it. But yeah, spent some time back where I grew up and had a cool little dose of perspective there. I think one of the things I took away this week was, how much abundance I have in my life and what is it that I really need in order to thrive. And when I say abundance, I think abundance is like more than you need to thrive. That's right now I'm defining abundance. And, it's not like you got to have just the bare minimum to get by. It's not what I'm saying. But do you have, and it can be with just various aspects of your life. It could be like work, relationship, physical stuff, material wealth, that kind of stuff. Do you have, time? Do you have more than you need to thrive at any certain thing? So yeah, spending that time where I grew up. And it's always interesting. This is really interesting for me in the context of the discussion we had on nostalgia, this, especially avoiding like ruminating on nostalgia, always being like, I had to go back to a thing. Got to get back to the good old days. For me, my perspective is like, that's a really dangerous outlook to hold on to long term. Just my 2 cents. And mainly it's because you can't go back. It's just not how the clock works. We're only moving forward. You can learn from the past. You can certainly appreciate, love, cherish memories from the past, lessons from the past. You can apply some of those in the future. But a wholesale import of what happened then into the right now, make that the present, for me, I think it's a little silly, very unrealistic. And I think sometimes when you go back to places where, a lot of your life began, it's easy to do one of two things. It's easier to want, like I said, want to import all of that now. Oh, I wish I could have gone back and done this. I wish I could have this now. Or you go the opposite direction. You just reject the whole thing. I never want to go back there. Never want any of this. Landing in the middle, I feel like for me is quite hard, of being able to genuinely, uniquely appreciate what happened. Pick out the best parts, take the lessons from them, carry them forward, but also be okay with letting go that was just a different time and it's a different thing now. But yeah, it was the abundance insight that really stuck out to me. And part of that is just, you're there to visit family, and which is fantastic and I really enjoyed. But it was, life is a little bit slower there in terms of, compared to now. The internet's not super great there. So you don't have all of these distractions that are on the internet that can get to you so rapidly fast when you have really excellent internet. That was an interesting perspective change. I was a real dork in college, so I've got a lot of those dorky philosophy English major books there. Dove back into some of those a little bit. Again, slower pace, some of that old stuff. A lot of outdoor time, which is fantastic. And it's an older house, so again, it just doesn't work always in the convenient, expected way that the newer house works. And I walked away from it with this appreciation for that, and a reminder of like, hey James, how little do you need to thrive? And like I said, I'm not saying survive here. I'm not saying scrape by. It was just a reminder of like, oh man, you don't even need that much to thrive. If you just put pressure in the right places and put focus in the right place, you can push pretty hard and you can get pretty far, because you started there, and you look at where you are now. I think that's what's interesting about kind of sometimes going back to where most of it began. Is you got to hear from there, because now I'm in this position where I had a pretty fortunate life. Been around really fantastic people, great mentors, had great support from my mom growing up in terms of an upbringing and an example, and other people, too, along the way. And now I'm always thinking like, oh, I need more to be able to do this. Well, if I want to accomplish this thing, I gotta have this. I need this special tool, and I need this insight and this support and these resources to do this thing. And I think we get a little caught up in that mindset along the way, because as you go pushing for more, you inevitably collect more, obtain more. And I think you get kind of stuck in a mindset, in order to get more, I need even more. And you forget that what were kind of the bare necessities that got you this far. So that was the big lesson. That was the big takeaway, is, taking the snapshot, the deep breath, looking around at my life. What are the things that I'm not gonna like go through my house and recondo the whole thing. I'm not like throwing everything out. Just gonna go live in a ditch in the middle of the woods. I'm not doing that. But what I am saying is, it was a nice breath of fresh air to pause, look at what I have, and really assess what is it that I actually need in order to thrive at any given thing. And it was a reminder that I don't need as much as I think I do or want to believe that I do. And I feel like that was a really good lesson for the week. So that's where we're at right now. Quicker one today. Looking forward to the rest of this week. Got a lot going on. So it's a good lesson. What is it that you need to thrive? How much abundance do you have? Do you need all of it? Is it blocking you? Is the thought that you just need more abundance even to move forward what's holding you back? Interesting. Little head scratcher. All right. We're rolling. More tomorrow.